Have you ever looked at a price chart and felt a genuine sense of dread? If you pull up the Casper CSPR lifetime chart right now, it looks less like a financial asset and more like a warning sign. From its staggering debut in 2021 to the current price levels, the bleeding has been relentless. But here is the question that separates the retail exit liquidity from the institutional wealth builders. Is this a failed project, or is this the most mispriced 100x opportunity sitting in plain sight? Most people see a horrific chart and run. Professionals see a fundamental powerhouse that had the misfortune of being born at the absolute height of a bubble. Today we are stripping away the price noise to look at the always building reality of Casper. We are going to dive into why the tech is actually superior to the top 10 giants, how they are solving the trilemma that keeps Ethereum developers up at night, and why a $25 million war chest is being deployed while the rest of the market is paralyzed by fear. If you only buy what looks green on the one-year chart, you aren't an investor, you're a passenger on someone else's moon mission. Let's address the elephant in the room, the price action. To the untrained eye, CSPR looks like a disaster. But context is everything in crypto. Casper launched its mainnet in March 2021, the literal peak of the everything bubble. It was listed on major exchanges when retail euphoria was at an 11 out of 10. When you launch at the top, there is only one direction to go when the macro cycle turns. This horrific chart isn't a reflection of Casper's failure, it is a symptom of market timing. While the price has retreated, the fundamental value has actually expanded. Most projects that saw 90% drawdowns in the last cycle have simply vanished. Casper? They've spent that time securing enterprise partnerships and refining a consensus model that is light years ahead of the competition. We aren't looking at a dying coin. We're looking at a coiled spring that has been suppressed by 3 years of peak launch baggage. Wall Street doesn't care about your feelings regarding a chart. They care about who owns the infrastructure of the next decade. Why does the tech actually matter if the price is down? Because in the world of enterprise adoption, good enough doesn't cut it. Casper is built on the correct by construction (CBC) Casper specification. This isn't just another buzzword. It is a unique evolution of proof-of-stake that solves the blockchain adoption trilemma. Usually, you have to sacrifice security for speed or decentralization for scalability. Casper's highway protocol allows the network to reach higher thresholds of finality and flexibility. Think of it as a future-proof blockchain. Unlike traditional chains where a smart contract is set in stone, and therefore unfixable if a bug is found, Casper allows for upgradable smart contracts. For a billion-dollar corporation, the ability to patch and evolve their software without migrating to a new chain is the difference between joining Web3 or staying on legacy servers. Is a blockchain really decentralized if a single bug can freeze millions because the contracts can't be updated? If you want to know where the 100x potential comes from, look at the ESG requirements of the Fortune 500. They cannot and will not build on dirty tech. This is where Casper destroys the competition. Casper is a staggering 136,000% more energy efficient than Bitcoin. It isn't just better, it's a completely different category of sustainability. When a massive global logistics firm or a national government looks to tokenize assets, they look at the carbon footprint. By positioning itself as the green enterprise standard, Casper isn't just fighting for retail Deegan money, it's positioning itself as the essential infrastructure for the business-centric era of crypto. While Bitcoin remains the digital gold, Casper is vying to be the digital steel, the substance used to build everything else. The next bull run won't be driven by Doge memes. It will be driven by corporations that need to save 90% on their operational energy costs. Now let's talk about the biggest fear in the Casper community: inflation. For years, critics pointed to the 8% annual issuance as a reason to stay away. But the Casper 2.0 and 2.1 upgrades have fundamentally rewritten the economic script. The most explosive change is the introduction of a 100% gas fee burn mechanism. In the old model, fees were a minor detail. Now, every single transaction permanently removes CSPR from the total supply. As enterprise adoption scales and thousands of transactions fire per second, this creates a massive deflationary counterforce. Furthermore, the new ZUG consensus isn't just faster, it's more efficient, allowing for block times to drop from 16 seconds to just 8 seconds. This increased throughput means more volume, more burn, and a shift from an inflationary subsidy model to a high-velocity utility model. They are effectively engineering scarcity into the protocol just as the adoption curve is starting to tick upward. Inflation is only a problem when nobody is using the network. Once the burn starts outpacing the issuance, you aren't holding a currency, you're holding a shrinking supply of prime real estate. A common red flag for struggling projects is a ghost town ecosystem. But Casper is doing the opposite. They launched the $25 million Casper Accelerate grant program. This is a massive signal of confidence. While other foundations are laying off staff and cutting costs, Casper is actively funding developers to build DeFi, gaming, and NFT infrastructure on their mainnet. This always building mentality during the darkest days of the bear market is exactly what preceded the 100x runs of Solana and Cardano in previous cycles. They are attracting high-quality dApps that utilize the network's unique features, like predictable gas fees. Imagine a world where a business can actually budget their blockchain costs a year in advance because the fees don't spike just because a new monkey picture collection launched. That is the Casper reality. Follow the money. You don't drop $25 million on a failing project. You drop it when you're ready to take over the market. So let's be transparent. Is there risk? Of course. This is crypto. The infinite maximum supply and the current sell signals on technical indicators are enough to keep the faint of heart away. But if you are looking for a 100x opportunity, you cannot wait for the strong buy signal to appear on the daily chart. By then, the 10x has already happened. We are looking at a project with enterprise-grade security, upgradable tech, insane energy efficiency, and a foundation that is aggressively buying growth. The horrific chart is your entry ticket. It is the discount you get for being early when everyone else is scared. Casper is playing a long game, a game of institutional adoption and real-world utility. If they capture even a fraction of the enterprise market, the current valuation will look like a rounding error in a few years. The biggest risk in crypto isn't buying the dip, it's watching the horrific chart turn into a vertical line from the sidelines. The Casper story is far from over. In fact, for the patient investor, it might just be beginning. We are at a unique crossroads where superior technology meets a depressed price, and history tells us that this gap eventually closes. If you found this brutally honest deep dive into CSPR helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We don't chase pumps here, we hunt for fundamentals that the market has ignored. Staying updated with the latest blockchain insights is the only way to turn horrific charts into life-changing portfolios. Turn on those notifications so you never miss the next hidden in plain sight gem. Take full control of your crypto with Ledger Live. Manage thousands of coins and NFTs securely in one place. Buy, swap, stake, and grow your portfolio with ease. Trusted by 7+ million users, Ledger Live keeps your assets safe by integrating with Ledger hardware wallets for maximum security. Say goodbye to third-party risks and hello to true financial freedom. Download Ledger Live now. Click the link in the description to get started. The information contained herein is for entertainment purposes only. Nothing herein shall be construed to be financial, legal, investment, or tax advice. The content of this video is solely the opinions of the channel owner, who is not a licensed financial advisor or registered investment advisor. Trading cryptocurrencies poses a considerable risk of loss. Please use your best judgment when dealing with cryptocurrencies and don't invest money that you cannot afford to lose. The channel does not guarantee any particular outcome.